Hi all, Wise Wolf here, and welcome back to another episode of New Harbour Wildlife Reserve. In last week, I released 2 episodes in the one day. This is because I wanted to commemorate Mujambi and Amani. So I built the information centre and released that and scheduled it earlier in the week, and then after the passing, I filmed the voiceover for the fossa. So this week, I'm building for the cheetah. Before I continue my voiceover, I do want to point out that I had my voiceover about 50% filmed, and then my editing software decided to bug out on me and I lost everything. So I have no idea what I had said, so this is not going to be as good as my original draft. With that disclaimer out of the way, let me start talking about the cheetah. Obviously, we all know that the cheetah is the world's fastest land animal, reaching a top speed of 120 kilometers per hour. That's faster than what we're allowed to drive on the freeway here in Perth. The cheetah is by far one of the most unique big cats, being the only big cat that doesn't roar, like our luxurious lions or majestic tigers, but instead they purr, just like your common house cat. I bet you already knew that, but just in case you didn't, now you do. Another interesting thing about our cheetahs here is, unlike our African painted dogs, or even the West African lion, the painted dogs have an 80% successful hunting rate. Lions have a 50 to 60% successful hunting rate. But cheetahs only have about a 20% successful hunting rate. Isn't that fascinating, considering they are the world's fastest land animal? Even though they can reach top speeds of 120 kilometers per hour, they do primarily rely on stealth when it comes to hunting. But sometimes their prey gets away from them. Now, speaking of their prey includes small to medium-sized ungulates such as gazelles and impalas. Now, unfortunately, much like their African brothers and sisters, they are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. This is due to habitat loss, human-wildlife conflict, and declining prey populations because of selfish people, like poachers, hunting their prey and leaving them with nothing to eat in the wild. This is where the various conservation efforts come into play. Now, much like the taboo that zoos should not exist, it is actually a safe place and a safe environment for animals of vulnerable and endangered statuses. In the wild, if an animal that was a prey was to be considered endangered, it would go extinct in a matter of minutes because of their predators and humans. Animals considered as predators in the wild that are losing their prey because of human hunting have that privilege of being fed in captivity, meaning they're not going to starve. They're not going to have to hunt for their food, but they also have the enrichment that can simulate that natural hunting instinct. I'm just going to take a quick short break about talking about the cheetahs, just to inform you that this part of the build that I'm doing now, I'm only including a portion of it in the actual video because it took me hours to complete the fence line. So you'll see in a moment that I just didn't bother recording me doing the fence because it literally took me 2.5 hours to get it right. Even then, it wasn't right. It wasn't perfect in my eyes. But I was not gonna spend another 2.5 hours to get it right. So I cut that. I didn't even bother recording it. So in a moment, it's just gonna cut to the finished product. Here it is. Now that that's out of the way, I just want to briefly touch on the social hierarchy of the cheetahs. Now, cheetahs generally live in groups of brothers. If a female is in a group, there will generally only be one. Female cheetahs live solitary with their cubs and only come with other males when it comes to breeding. But now, speaking of this, Did you know that a group of cheetahs is called a coalition? It's a very unique group name and is one of the few that have a complete standalone compared to pack or herd. However, when the female cheetahs do come with the males for that mating season, after a gestation period of about 90 to 95 days, the female cheetah will give birth to anywhere between 3 to 5 cheetah cubs. And they are the most adorable animal cub that you will ever see. If you ever get the chance to see a cheetah cub, it is the most cutest thing. You just want to give it a cuddle, give it a hug. But in the back of your mind, you'll know that mum's watching, mum's probably gonna hurt me. So you just have to fight the urge to want to give the cheetah cub a hug. It's like most animals. You want to give them cuddles, but you want to resist the urge of being unalived by this massive animal that could end you in a matter of seconds. And while on the topic of giving animals hugs, I want to preference something. This was taught to me when I went to Perth Zoo with a friend on Tuesday. I'm going back there tomorrow to do the sun bear close encounter. This video will come out basically the day after that. I was lucky enough to catch the otter keeper talk. If you see on social media any videos of like otter cafes or orangutans doing cute things, don't interact with them. If you're going to interact with them, you are condoning the illegal animal trade of exotic animals. In reality, zoos should be the only place that keep exotic animals. We shouldn't even be allowed to have exotic licenses because they're not fit for households. The only interaction you should have with these such videos is by pressing the report button. Nothing else. Because by interacting, you're condoning the actions that they have done. Now, when it comes to like these otter cafes, this is just one example, and I will be building for the Asian small-clawed otter later on, when I get to my Asian section. These businesses go out into the wild and they take the babies from their mothers, and it is the most heartbreaking thing to watch because the mothers fret. So by interacting with the videos, you're condoning this. So if you see on Facebook or Instagram these quote-unquote cute otter videos of otter cafes in Japan, report them. Now at this point of the video, I'd like to introduce you to New Harbours Cheetah Coalition. I'm gonna let the speed build play out for the next 5 minutes or so without commentary. I hope you have enjoyed my little educational spiel about the cheetahs and things you can do to overall help in the conservation. That being, report any videos you see doing something that they shouldn't be with exotic animals. If you have enjoyed this build, feel free to leave a like, and by all means, feel free to subscribe. I hope to see you next week, where I will build for, I believe I'm gonna try my African hoofstock build, which will include the Addax, Dama Gazelle, and Somali wild ass. I hope YouTube doesn't demonetize me for that word, but it is what the animal is called. I'll see you at the end of the video. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Before I get questions in the comments asking why I don't commentate through the whole thing, my editing software only allows about 20 clips of add-on track. And this is my last available clip that I can use. So I tend not to talk through my whole video because I don't want to waste these add-on clips that I can use with my editing software. But I hope you have enjoyed my Cheetah Coalition build, and I hope to see you next week for the African Hoofstock build. As always, feel free to leave a like, feel free to subscribe, and without further ado, I'll see you next time. Please feel free to enjoy this cinematic. Peace out.